What's going on YouTube? Fable Grimro giving you guys another Vanguard deck profile. This time I'm giving you probably one of the most anticipated decks that people have been hyping up for trying to get with this last set coming out, and that is the Genesis Restanding Vanguard Minerva. She is probably one of the best restanders in the game, and the entire deck is like, supposed to be like around her, so she's like your main win condition, that kind of a thing. This deck I've been trying to focus on a little bit more than some of my other decks because I'm hoping to take this to the New York Vanguard Regionals in September. So this deck is subject to change probably as this month goes on, because I'm going to be doing a lot of testing, trying to tweak some things, getting things working the way I wanted to. Got in my nice Horizon in the middle of the nowhere, not a deck box my friend sent me. But let me give you guys the profile. There's not a whole lot of strategy because this deck is pretty straightforward, and that's to ride Minerva and restand her and win with her and that kind of stuff. So for my starter, I was using Battle Maiden Minerva Akari, who she's a 5k forerunner that when she boosts a grade 3, you can soul charge 1, so the free soul charging is pretty nice. Unfortunately, in my testing, she was turning out to be an extremely slow card and really just slowed the deck down because I was losing a lot more than I probably should have or would like to be losing with this deck. And it was normally because of two reasons. One was I didn't have... she just kind of sat on the field and did nothing for like 2 turns or something like that. And this was very, very bad, especially in the Dragon Clan matchups, because things like Linchu and Gatling Claw would just retire her and then she's completely useless. The other problem was I was misrouting a lot. Like I wasn't getting my Minerva, I was just getting Angelica, or I was getting Minerva without Angelica. So my rides were all messed up because I had to make sure that I had enough, hopefully open with an Angelica or a Minerva or both, and then I'd be kind of stuck on the 1s and 2s wherever I got. So, I was really misriding a lot, not getting my break rides, not even getting my Minervas, and when that happens, the deck falls apart. So, the grade 3 Searcher, I swapped her out. Counterblast 1, put her in the soul, so unlike Amina Hokari, she can add herself for the soul, which is nice because I want to soul blast a lot. And then switch for the grade 3 because I am, I need my grade 3s. Trigger lineup: 4, 8, 12 crit. Like a lot of other Genesis builds, as well as even stuff like Oracle Think Tank and stuff like that, those clans, I have other means of gaining card advantage through card effects by drawing cards. So I want to focus a lot of my triggers on the pressure, getting extra damages in, pushing for game, especially on a restander like Minerva. Critical triggers are a godsend because I can just drive check, give all my effects to my Vanguard, effect a restand, and I'm swinging again with extra power and extra crits. So 12 triggers, 12 crit triggers. 4 are Kikuri Hime, who is put her into the soul, give her Vanguard plus 3,000. Very nice in case I need another soul to use my soul charge effects. And also 4 heals. On to my grade 1s, we have our standard 4 perfect guards. I am not running the Quintet Wall in this build. It's not very good until... Quintet Walls aren't really all that great until the Legion meta comes out. And the combo that the Genesis Quintet wall has with the trial deck, grade 1, the Apple Witch Cider, that lets you, when you guard with the Quintet wall and then with her and then put it all into the soul, it's really, really nice, I guess, when it goes off to give you, like, you know, 6, 7 cards in the soul, stuff like that. But I don't really need that much soul for this deck because I'm usually just going to get my Break Ride effect, restand Minerva, and then like the game should be over at that point. So it's a rather fragile combo that it's nice when it works, but it completely falls apart when it doesn't work. So, you know, the consistency just isn't there for like running all these, you know, cards I don't really want to. For Witch of Frolic Melissa, she is the, when she's put from the soul to the drop zone, you counterblast 1 to Superior Call her from the drop zone. Very good card to like ride with, or you soul charge her. Great as far as gaining advantage, sort of gives you a Superior Call element. Especially nice when you get to like, you know, restand columns and stuff, and so you're like, oh, your opponent is the only thing you're attacking with, you know, a 12k attacker and your Vanguard, and then you do your soul blasting tricks, call out some of her in the grade 2 version, and it's like, oh no, there's a lot of stuff. 3 Witch of Orange Valencia, the new witches from set 14, the Fruit Witches, they're similar to the old witches in that they get their effects when they're put from the soul to the drop zone, but her effect is that when she's put from the soul to the drop zone, you get to soul charge 2 more cards. So it's a lot like sort of a pseudo Dimension Creeper effect. I may actually switch the numbers on these, the Superior Call Witches versus the Soul Charge Fruit Witches, because without a Minoho Akari, I find that I don't really have a whole lot of soul charging outside of these guys, and so I really want to ride these as much as possible to get my soul charges, or somehow get them into my soul another way. So I may actually bump these up to 4s and then bump the other ones down to 3s. And then to round out my grade 1s, I have 3 of one of possibly the most Bork cards in this deck outside of Minerva, and that is Ordain Owl. This card, it's rather similar. I think Ashley Reverse and Gancelot get a similar card effect like this, where you can put like the action when you put a grade 3 with Ashley from the drop zone back to the bottom of the deck and then get your opponent plus 5,000 power. Gancelot, same thing, but with a copy of Gancelot. This is, you can put a card, choose a grade 3 Regalia card from your drop zone, put it at the bottom of the deck. If you have a Genesis Vanguard, choose one of your grade 3 Regalia in its card name and get plus 5,000 power. And then this effect can be used more than once. It's an action skill, so and it's no cost besides just putting this thing back from the drop zone. So what you can do is all of those extra copies of Angelica and Minerva that you're soul blasting away, discarding away, your opponent retires them, you guard with them if you really have to. You can put them back to the bottom of your deck, and you can easily give your Vanguard an extra 10,000 power, 15,000 power, 20,000 power. I've given my Vanguard like 25, 30,000 power before off of Ordain now, just because of the amount of stuff I get in the drop zone. And it just, the swinging that you get off of restanding Vanguard with this card is amazing. 2, I see people, like, 4 is too many, 2 I feel is too less because then I'll never draw into it. 3 is just the right number because I just need 1 on the field. It's 6k, so I'll just put it behind the 12k attacker for an 18k column. It's fantastic. Speaking of 12k attacker, here's my 12k attacker. If I have a Regalia Vanguard, she gets up to 3,000. Unfortunately, she's not a Regalia herself, which kind of stinks. So it's going to mess her up for like the future use with the Regalia Legions and stuff like that. But, you know, oh well, she gets the job done as far as right now. 4 Witch of Raven's Chamomile. Same effect as the Witch of Frogs Melissa, but she's the grade 2. Again, I might cut her down to 3 to put the Fruit Witch up to 4. But she is, I feel, maybe a little bit better than the grade 1 version, because she sort of gives an element of extra attacks to this deck that I guess a lot of people don't really factor into. But what I've done on occasion is I'll have my Vanguard out, have like a 9K, a 12K, like just something else on rear guard. Let's say I got some boosters out here too, and then my Vanguard, which is most likely going to be Minerva. So what I do, and then I'll have like 2 witches in the soul or something ridiculous. Like, it's just one of those like cool little tricks you can do with the deck that no one ever sees coming, but it gives you such a push. So you just go attack with the 12K, attack with the 12K, attack with the Vanguard. Minerva's skill is Soul Blast, and then you Soul Blast 2 of the witches. Call them right to your rear guards, and then if you don't boost with your boosters, and you're swinging with 16K Vanguard. So it gives you, 6 attacks in a Genesis deck, which is something that, usually something like a Nova Grappler deck would, be more known for. But it's just a nice push for game off of a restanding Minerva. Something your opponent doesn't really expect. It's really nice when you can get something like that off. Otherwise, she's just kind of there for nice sort of soft pluses as you get her into the soul, counterblast 1, call her out. The grade 1 and the grade 2 witches are what you're going to be using most of your counterblast for, as the deck isn't counterblast heavy, but it's a lot of counterblast 1, so like counterblast 1 for each of these, counterblast 1 for your starter, and then Minerva has a counterblast 1 for her skill as well, so you kind of have to manage how much counterblasting you're doing, because you want to make sure you have counterblast open for Minerva as well. And then 3 of the fruit witches, same effect as Valencia, but she's a grade 2. When she's in the drop zone, you soul charge 2 more from your deck. On to the grade 3, we have our Break Ride. Regalia of Wisdom Angelica. She is the Regalia Break Ride from the Trial deck, and also serves as the base of the Minerva Cross Break Ride. So, Limit Break 4, when a Genesis rides this unit, you can pay the cost if you do. Soul Blast 3, draw 2 cards, and your Vanguard gets plus 10,000. Plus, when she attacks, she gets 1,000, and then you get the Soul Charge 1. I think Himiko has a similar skill to that as well. So, she is probably one of the 3. I would say one of the best. Of the 3 Genesis Break Rides, she's probably the best. Just because she has a really cheap cost of a draw 2 for like a Soul Blast 3, which you can do so easily in most Genesis decks. She Soul Blasts herself, or she Soul Charges on her own, and then she's also the base for Minerva's Cross Ride. So, and she's a Regalia, so you can use stuff like Ordain out with her, and the 12K attacker. So 4 of her, and then 4 of your main girl, and that is Omniscience Regalia Minerva. She has your Lord skill. If you have the Angelica in the soul, she gets plus 3,000. So if you break right on top of her, or if you're able to soul charge Angelica, which happens, it's off the witches or something like that, it's really nice, and then you get your cross ride power on both turns. And then her skill is Limit Break 4, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 3, and then choose 3 Genesis cards from your hand and discard them. At the end of the battle, this unit attacks. You can pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit, and then this unit gets plus 5,000 power until the end of the turn. You'll use the ability like once a turn. So for a rather easy restanding cost, like the Counterblast 1 is nothing. Soul Blast 3 is like, it's nothing in Genesis. It's like equivalent to 1 card, and then like discard 3. You're gonna be drawing 2 cards off your Angelica anyway, plus what you're gonna twin drive off of. To restand, the effect is great, which is why she's one of the most threatening. She restands with power, and that's without the booster, without the break ride, without additional power from Ordain now, without triggers. That's why she's one of the most threatening vanguards in this entire game. So she's great. She's great. Fun fact too. Her art. Bushiroad had hentai artist. His name's like Tony. I forget the last name. Tony something. He's a hentai artist, but he's also the same guy that did the art for the Shining games, like Shining Hearts and whatever that Shining Bread. They had like an anime series of it too. So I looked this up because I'm like, oh, it's this guy. I know this series of games and this anime, and I'm like, oh, it's the same artist. So I thought that was a really cool fun fact. Because pretty much everyone knows that she's drawn by a hentai artist. Whatever. She looks really nice. So go all out with the art. Anyway, please let me know what you guys think of this deck. I might try to change some stuff already as is, so this deck might change, within the next week, within the next month. It might change, like, the night of before the sneak, the night of the sneak, the night after the sneak. As I said, I changed my starter up from Amino Hokari to Vivid Rabbit. I changed. I already talked about changing. My witches lineup. I might go more with the Soul Charge witches instead of the Superior Call witches. I also might try to add Battlebane Sahohime, who's the Counterblast 1, Soul Charge 3, the Emblem Master clone in here as well, just to get a little extra soul for all my skills. But, I would love to hear everyone's suggestions on this, so please let me know what you guys think. I'm hoping to take this to New York. Hopefully I'll do pretty well. I did pretty decent last year for having a rather, sort of a Dark Horse deck in the Metatron deck that I played last year. So hopefully I can do a little bit better than that this year, as I'm, now more experienced into this game than I wasn't quite back then. I still did pretty well. So let me know what you guys think. Please like, comment, suggestions, do all that stuff. Pick the deck apart if you guys, can give me some good stuff here. I'm listening. So thanks for watching, YouTube. See you later.